What is up, Buttercup? It finally cooled off here in north central Texas. It's a nice chilly day. Little rain in the forecast. It's been raining kind of softly part of the day, a little harder some of the day. So it's a perfect day to make some good old Texas chili. So that's what we're going to do today. We've got our ingredients all laid out. We're going to use ground beef today. Some folks use a chuck roast and they'll dice that up. Some folks use ground beef. That's what we're using. This is our take on a Texas chili. I'm excited about this because it's really a good chili. There's one of the key ingredients in a good Texas chili are as follows. You always have to use some good old beans in your Texas chili. I mean, that's what makes Texas chili, right? Psych. No beans in chili here in Texas. I got you. No beans. I like beans and I like chili, but I don't like them together. So we're going to make our chili without beans. So the first thing we're going to do is I've got here on my cutting board, I've got our spices, and I'll talk about those in just a second. Set those to the side. But I've got 2 strips of bacon that I've diced up, and I'm going to turn on my stove here, roll these off in here. I'm going to get that bacon going, let it render down. And then I'm going to dump in, I've got 1.33 cups of a finely diced up onion that I'll put in with this bacon and kind of saute that down a little bit. And then we'll add our ground beef and our seasonings. I'm using this Better Than Bouillon beef seasoning. I actually think that it takes the place of beef broth and does a really good job. You use this in a little bit of water and it'll make an excellent broth. So I'm gonna get this bacon going, get my onion sauteing, and I'll be back to see you in just a few minutes. So hang on for some good Texas chili. I'm gonna render this bacon down. Mainly I'm just after the bacon grease. After I've got it rendered down, I'll take the bacon out and save it for it. Pan's hot, save it for a different project. But speaking of this pan's been in my family for a really long time. I can remember my grandmother using it when I was a child. I'm not sure how I came about it. I guess my mom passed it down to me. And of course my wife and I have used it for beans and chili and stews and whatnot over the years. But yeah, kind of a cool thing. Kind of an heirloom type thing, I guess you could say. Anyway, I'm going to render this bacon on down a little bit more, and then I'll pull it out, drop my onions in, and we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll saute our onions down for a bit. So we're back. I've sweated our onions out a bit. I'm going to go ahead and drop our ground beef in here. I'm using 85-15. And I'm going to kind of just break it up a bit. Not in too small pieces yet, but just into some chunks. We'll let this cook down for a while, and then we will come back and talk about the spices we're going to add. And I'll show you what I've got over here to put in this. This is going to be some really good chili, so hang with me and I'll be right back in a few minutes. So as you can see, the meat's about 3/4 of the way cooked through. I'm gonna go ahead and dump our spices in at this point. Add some beef broth, and we'll let it simmer for a while. Over here to our spices, let me tell you what we've got. I've got 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, a tablespoon of paprika, a tablespoon of ancho chili powder, a tablespoon of chipotle chili powder. I've got 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. I've got 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. I've got, what have I missed here? The oregano. I've got Mexican oregano. The reason I know that's Mexican oregano is when I opened the jar, it said, "Hola, ¿cómo está, amigo?" Otherwise, I would have thought that it might have been Mediterranean oregano, or I don't know. But anyway, that's how I knew that was, you know what I'm saying. Come on. So we're gonna dump all these in, just like so. I'm gonna stir this in. I can tell you right now, that already smells pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. I don't make a real spicy chili. Some of the people in my house don't have a stomach for real spicy foods, so I try to make it just spicy enough that it satisfies some of us, but it also satisfies the rest of us. I've got about 2 cups of the beef bouillon that I was talking about. Actually, there's 2 teaspoons of that better than bouillon mix that I was talking to you about, and 16 ounces of water. And I'm going to pour this in. I'm going to give it a good stir. Turn it down on simmer. One thing I'm going to do before we get there that I think it's time for is take my potato masher and kind of mash this up and get the beef in a little bit smaller chunks. I'll probably do this again in a few minutes. I'm going to reduce this down to a simmer, put a lid on it, and let it cook for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. And come back and check it and see how it looks. See if we need to adjust any spices and go from there. So hang with me and we shall return. Okay, we're back. We've got our bowl of Texas chili. We wound up simmering it for about 20 minutes on low. Checked it, stirred it, and turned it back on for another 20. And it's finished up. So it looks really good. Got to give it a little taste here and be sure. Put a little bit of Colby Jack cheese on top of it. And I'll tell you what, that is some good chili. Got just a little bit of heat to it. Not a lot, but a really good flavor. So you need to check this out. You know, a lot of guys will do their recipes and say, make it your own, you know. If you don't want to do it this way, don't do it this way. But I would admonish you to, when someone builds a recipe, to try it their way. And then if you don't like it, change it up. But at least try it their way first before you go about changing things up. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. Thanks for stopping by Just Cooking with the Guys. I appreciate you watching our videos. If you haven't already subscribed, I'd ask you to do so. Hit that notification bell so each time we do a new video, you'll get notified. and I'd appreciate it. So for now, we'll see you.